Yes, right after this message. Are you down to Paradise? We are going to be discussing the drug situation as it exists in the schools and how you're teaching the children in the schools to approach that particular crisis, and how perhaps you should be teaching them, or other schools should be teaching them to do that. And you just scared me to death, Mr. Amadio, because you've taken out pieces of paper with all sorts of numbers on. What is that, your shopping list for the week?
No, for the next couple of days. Just getting ready.
Uh-huh. You do have a lot of figures. Are you good at math, Mr. Amadio?
Yes, I teach mathematics.
I get that feeling, yeah. I was a very poor math student. I'm terribly sorry. So if you'll just turn around so they face you, good. And Mr. Geller, you...
I'm glad that Tom is here because I'm also a very poor math student.
Uh-huh. Well, are you a teacher, though, right?
I was a teacher, a full-time teacher at Abraham Lincoln High School. I was a speech teacher.
Uh-huh.
And back in '70, my principal, Abe Lass, who I think is one of the most forward-looking men, he decided at that time that we should have some kind of full-time drug coordinator. And I was taken out of the classroom and given that position. About a year later, the Board of Education SPARK program came into being. Are you familiar with that, Earl?
No.
The SPARK program is the School Prevention of Addiction through Rehabilitation and Knowledge. That's what the letters mean.
Mm-hmm.
And every high school in New York City has one drug education specialist, or DES. And at Lincoln, that's what my position is. I'm a drug education specialist. And actually, at Lincoln, I'm in charge, as you said before, of all the drug programs. But I work under the aegis of SPARK, which is funded by the state.
I see. And it's a full-time situation for you.
Full-time job in the school that I had been teaching.
How do you spend a normal day functioning in this position?
Well, one of the things that most high schools have is a SPARK program, which consists of, in my school, the circle groups. And that is actually a number of, every period, we have a different number of kids, a different amount of kids coming in who sit and take part in a rap session, or a circle, what we call the circle group. And what happens in these rap sessions are we have the kids talking to each other, reaching out, trying to help each other, trying to solve problems together, a sort of group dynamics kind of thing, where students try to learn trust, try to accept responsibility for their own actions, and exercise control over their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes on 4 or 5 periods a day, and then there are other periods during the day which I see kids individually on a one-by-one interviewing system.
Kids who have been brought to your attention because they have a problem?
Right, grade advisors, deans, etc., who will write me a note and say, somebody here that you might want to talk to, and then we'll go down and we'll interview them, a one-on-one situation.
How do you find that kids react who are on drugs when you approach them?
Well, one of the things that we have to do in our kind of program, because we are only as we say in the name, rehabilitation, and we are not a punitive kind of program. So that what we can do with a kid, let's say, who is suspected of abusing drugs, is to go down to the individual and say to him, look, I don't know whether or not you are on it or not. You know, I don't expect you to open up to me or to trust me now because we just met. But what I would like you to do is to come up to the room, perhaps sit down with us a while, talk with us a while. We leave the door open for that kid. Now, many times we're able to get the youngster up and we build a relationship. And if I can give you let's say a credo of what our program is about, it's to turn kids on to other kids, turn people on to people and not on to chemicals. And this is what we try to do with our children from our school. Now, there are times when kids will refuse to relate and refuse to open up.
You can say to a student who would like to ask your assistance in helping us perhaps combat drug problems that might exist here in the school.
We don't
take that approach?
We don't want to talk about drug problems per se. You know, drugs are symptomatic of other problems.
Mm-hmm.
What we like to do is to get the kid to come up and to relate to us and to try to build a relationship with us and to trust us. And then we can go into different, the T-shirts which say enjoy cocaine instead of Coke, or have some peyote instead of, with the Pepsi-Cola sign. And it's a kind of climate that comes about that affects children and affects young children. I think Mr. Miller can bear me out. The idea is that what happens when you go into these stores, and most adults wear blinders when they walk in there. They don't seem to see it. But what happens is that the advertisements, which are subliminally talking to the kids and are saying, hey, come on, join up, get with it, don't be square. They make cocaine, hashish, marijuana, and, the whole gamut. Cute little notions, instead of pointing out that these things lead to great danger.
And this is not just in your area, this is everywhere.
Well, New York City.
Whatever.
Yeah. As a matter of fact...
And usually around schools, right?
Well, around schools, because that's where the kids are, and that's who buys these things. Now, one of the things that I would like to see, if they're going to sell, posters of the little old lady, rolling a joint, and there's other things about, Coke, how good Coke is. Why don't they show a poster of the woman whose husband was killed by a coke addict who was, just coked up, and he was a taxi cab driver? Or why don't they show the poster about the kid with the collapsed veins because he's a heroin addict? It's too attractive, Earl. I mean, in fact, it's gotten so it invades the music industry. Your two big records today, High, 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 and Rocky Mountain High, and the things we sit around the campfire, everyone getting high. And don't people listen to this? And I think it's wrong. It's hypocritical. The kids see it, and they buy it. And the little kids, you go into a store with 7, 8-year-olds, and they see these beautifully packaged things. If I had it with me, I would show you how actually attractive